There were 9 losses by AP top 25 teams in week 5 as the tilt-a-whirl known as the 2021 college football season kicked into an even higher gear for the start of October. We were guaranteed at least 4 losses because of that many meetings between ranked teams. But number 3, Oregon, number 10, Florida, number 15, Texas A&M, number 18, Fresno State, and number 20, UCLA all lost to unranked foes. At this point, the question isn't will there be upsets, rather it's how many upsets will there be? Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of to the Week 6 edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I'm your host, Anthony Florio, back from his one-night leave. Good old MF Michael Fletcher back with us. Glad to have MF back with us tonight, and of course, Michael Bullock here as well. And 17 game docket. It's 18 overall because we have a game in progress right now. It's Coastal Carolina. I believe they're number 15, and they're currently at this hour squaring off against Arkansas State. Yeah, number 15, Coastal Carolina against Arkansas State. That's over on ESPN University right now. About 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. All Coastal Carolina. Looks like they're on their way to another easy win because they're up 45-20. So it looks like, for all intents and purposes, that Coastal Carolina is going to cruise to another easy win. So, so 17 games to talk about. We actually have a couple of Friday games that we're going to address first, and then we'll get into the Saturday slate. So, excuse me. So with that, let's get into the 2 games that are going to go down tomorrow night. Usually it's 1, but this time around we got 2. It's going to be part of a doubleheader on ESPN tomorrow night. We're going to start off with number 5, Cincinnati, back at home at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, and they're going to be hosting the Temple Owls. 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. And on the call for that one, it will be Clay Matvick, Rocky Boyman, and Tiffany Blackman. And Cincinnati opening up as a 29-point favorite. So, yeah, always, and I can't stress this enough, always beware of the letdown game. Following their marquee road win over Notre Dame, the number 1 topic this week in college football is Cincinnati's case for inclusion in the college football playoff. The Bearcats are flying higher than ever before. And with them playing at home against the Temple squad that has already lost by 25 to Boston College and by 47 to Rutgers this season, a 4-touchdown spread doesn't feel like anywhere near enough. But remember last year when Coastal Carolina had that emotional win over BYU and then turned around and needed a last-minute touchdown drive to eke out a win over a 500 Troy team that had already been blown out multiple times that year. Or earlier this season when Fresno State toppled UCLA before just barely surviving at home against winless UNLV. We don't expect this game to be that close. I know I don't. But I do think there will be talk of hangovers in the first half of this Friday night game. But I do have Cincinnati winning, though. I do have them winning somewhat rather comfortably. 35-17, Cincinnati over Temple. So not much more to say here. MF, the Penn State-Iowa loser is going to cancel each other out. And all Cincy has to do is win and come next week. They could be in the top 4 as of next week.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Cincinnati is playing with the house money, especially after that humongous win over Notre Dame. They came out there, they took the game to Notre Dame, and they took it from them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Notre Dame played a good game, but Cincinnati was the better team, and they deserved that victory at Notre Dame Stadium last Saturday. So now the question becomes, where do we go from here? And it's basically, if you're Cincinnati, like you said, avoid the letdown. After a big emotional win like that, sometimes you put the foot off the gas because of a team that's probably not as superior as you. Well, be careful. This is where trouble tends to happen. So at the end of the day, we got to go from there. But I do believe Cincinnati will win the game And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Bullock, are you with us? There you are.
Yeah, basically, that was an impressive win for Cincinnati. I mean, basically going into a place like Notre Dame and being able to beat the Fighting Irish. They took Notre Dame to the limit and they pulled it out. So yeah, I don't expect any setbacks for this Cincinnati team. So I got Cincinnati winning easily as well. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
All right, and we'll move on to the other game that's going to take place tomorrow night. The second half of that ESPN doubleheader, 10:30 kickoff. The number 22 Arizona State Sun Devils back at home at the legendary Sun Devils Stadium, Frank Kush Field in Tempe, Arizona. And they will be hosting the Stanford Cardinal. And this game, like I said, on ESPN, and on the call for that one will be Jason Benetti, Andre Ware, and Paul Carcaterra. Arizona State opening up as a 13-point favorite. MF, Arizona State, better watch out. Don't take the Stanford team lightly, because look what Stanford did. Oh, they only beat Oregon last week and shook up the landscape of the college football playoff, don't you think?
Oh yeah, they shook it up all right, and that's the second big win for Stanford this year. Stanford, they're a killer, man. It doesn't matter what type of rank you are. You run into the Cardinal, that tree gets a little angry at you, and they could take you out. So absolutely, upset alert for Arizona State, no doubt about it. But I do believe Arizona should win. They're at home. They're playing in their own house. And but like you said, just be very careful. This isn't Palo Alto, so I don't expect the same Stanford team out there that they did earlier in the year. But then again, keep an eye on the Cardinal, man. They've already got two big upsets under their belt. They do not mind getting a hat trick, if you know what I mean. Michael Bullock, I give it to you. I got Arizona State winning, but not by much. Close in what the experts have it. But I do put Arizona on upset alert because of the fact that Stanford has already gotten two big upsets already this year.
Yeah, basically, to me, that 13-point favorite, I think it should be lower as far as I'm concerned. After what Stanford did, upsetting the Oregon Ducks. So, yeah, I got Arizona State winning, but I would not be surprised if Stanford goes into Sun Devil Stadium and basically pulls off another upset 2 weeks in a row. So, yeah, Arizona State wins, but barely. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yes. At long last, we've reached the hashtag Pac-12 After Dark on a Friday night portion of the regular season, and what a fantastic game to get that party started. Arizona State is back in the AP Top 25 after a 42-23 road win over then number 20 UCLA in the Rose Bowl. And Stanford most certainly shook up the rankings with its 31-24 overtime victory over then number 3 Oregon. But the combination of Arizona State's above-average secondary and Stanford's considerably below-average run defense should keep another upset from happening. The Sun Devils are averaging better than 200 rushing yards a game, and they are going to run all over a Cardinal defense, allowing more than 200 rushing yards a game. And though Tanner McKee has 10 touchdowns against 0 interceptions since becoming Stanford's starting quarterback, this will be the toughest defense he has faced by a wide margin. However, the first Friday night Pac-12 game of the season tends to be a wild one, so we'll see what actually happens. I think Stanford will give them fits for at least a half, maybe even into the third quarter, but I think Arizona State's going to pull away at the end. So I think Arizona will pull away 35-17. I have Arizona State knocking off Stanford tomorrow night, but definitely beware of the Cards. Absolutely. All right, now we're going to move on to the Saturday portion. And for myself and MF, Maybe I know damn sure from me and MF, maybe even Michael Bullock too. In our hearts, this next game is without question, when it comes to us on a personal basis, on a personal front, this is our game of the week right here. The Red River Rivalry. High noon, ABC, the number 6 Oklahoma Sooners, the number 21 Texas Longhorns, the legendary Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. In a game of this magnitude, you need the best damn announced team that you can get, and you got it. The A teams, the A teams all over this one. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, they're going to be there. And in Oklahoma, opening up as a 3-point favorite, Michael Bullock, there's nothing left to say. Red River Rivalry, and you heard JR sign off on AEW last night saying, go Sooners, beat Texas. Can they do it again?
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, this is definitely one of the greatest rivalries in college football. I mean, when you got it known as the Red River Shootout, it is one of the greatest rivalries. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas have had so many great battles in this legendary rivalry, and I expect this to be no different. Sure, Oklahoma, I mean, it's easy for me to pick Oklahoma to win, but I just got this funny feeling that I think Texas could somehow pull it out. I mean, we've seen them somehow pull it out before. You know what? Screw it. I mean, I'm actually going to pull the trigger. I'm going to go for the upset here. I'm going to say the Texas Longhorns beat Oklahoma, and I think it's going to be only by a field goal, as far as I'm concerned. So, hey, if I'm the lone wolf for this one, I don't give a damn. I'm calling for the upset here. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Michael Bullock going bringing back one of our old favorites from the early days of our Raw and SmackDown chats, the bold prediction, and that certainly is a bold prediction right there, Bullock. Absolutely. You never know. It could happen. It could. It's been done. We'll see. But here's one thing I do know, and we all know. The Red River Rivalry always delivers. In each of the last 7 years, the regular season meeting between Oklahoma and Texas was decided by a single possession. Last year's game, the greatest Red River Rivalry game in history, necessitated 4 overtimes before Oklahoma finally won 53-45, which somewhat fittingly was the widest margin of victory since 2013, excluding the 2018 Big 12 championship game. That game was closer than the final 39-27 score. And goodness knows, Oklahoma has had a propensity for nail-biters this season. The Sooners have played 4 games against FBS opponents, winning each of them by 7 points or fewer. Can Texas do its ground thing against the Sooners' front 7, though? Led by Bijan Robinson, Texas is averaging nearly 270 rushing yards and 3.4 rushing touchdowns a game, but Oklahoma has held each of its 5 opponents to 100 rushing yards or fewer. And though the preseason Heisman favorite hasn't been anywhere near as proficient as expected, I've got to go with Spencer Rattler over Casey Thompson if this boils down to which quarterback has the most fourth quarter heroics up his sleeve. So I respectfully disagree with you, Michael Bullock. I have the Oklahoma Sooners winning this latest installment of the Red River Rivalry. Close game, as always. Not as high scoring as last year, but it'll be a high scoring game nonetheless. 34-28, Oklahoma defeats Texas. So there isn't much more to say. MF, I know there is a game that's actually bigger than this one, of course, and absolutely it deserves to be the game of the week. But in our hearts, MF, this is our personal game of the week, the Red River Rivalry. Brother, it don't get no bigger. A main event anywhere.
Yeah, this is one of the big rivalries in college football. You know, we talk about USC and UCLA, Ohio State, Michigan. We'll get to that later on in the year. Of course, there is the Red River rivalry. This is one of the marquee matchups. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're about. You know what? There's the one time in the whole year where either you're the red of Oklahoma or the orange of Texas. And there's no in between. It doesn't matter how it plays out, what's going to happen. Whenever these two teams get it on, it shuts the whole country down because that's how the war always goes. That's the battle, that's the fight, that's everything that you know. And yeah, there is bad blood. There is a battle. You lose this game, you think about this game 364 days in the year until the next Red River rivalry, till the next battle at the Cotton Bowl. If you win the game, vindication. You get to celebrate, you get to rub it in their faces year in and year out. So that's all it is. So you win the game, you're definitely at the top in the creme a la creme. But here's the problem: with this being, this used to be a Big 12 staple. It's going to become an SEC staple very soon in 2024 when both of these two colleges leave for the SEC. Will it still have the same effect? Is it going to have the same impact like it used to be? We'll wait and see how it plays out. But this is still a rivalry game. This is still bad blood. Both these teams do not like each other, and this is why we love this game. And we love to do the game every year. As far as the winner goes, I gotta go Oklahoma this time around. Normally, I don't know. I'm a little sucker for Texas, but Texas have been falling on hard times lately. They lost an unnecessary game along the way. I do believe Oklahoma is the better team, so I do believe they'll get the job done. Even though I do agree it's going to be a close battle, I got Oklahoma winning the Red River rivalry very close. I think it will be yet another a one possession game, but Oklahoma should win the Red River rivalry. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right. Next up, the second of our 5 high noon games here. We'll make it a little easier here. We got the number 7 Ohio State Buckeyes back at home at the Horseshoe Ohio Stadium in Columbus, Ohio, and they're going to be hosting the Maryland Terrapins as part of Big Noon Saturday on Fox. And it's not the crew you think it is. It's not going to be the Gus Johnson crew. They got the bigger game later in the day. For this game, it'll be Aaron Goldsmith, Brock Heward, and Bruce Feldman. They will be there for that one. Ohio State opening up as a 21-point favorite. Maryland's 4-0 start to the season blew up in spectacular fashion at home against Iowa in a game in which the Terrapins committed 7 turnovers. Up next for the Terps, merely a road game against the team leading the nation in total offense. Not only has Ohio State's offense been relentless, but the Buckeyes have also turned a corner on defense as of late, albeit against Akron and Rutgers. They have 7 interceptions in their last 3 games, and Taulia Tagovailoa has now thrown at least 3 picks in 3 of his 9 games with Maryland. And the kicker, Ohio State is 6-0 in this series with an average margin of victory of 36 points since Maryland joined the Big Ten. Easy win for Ohio State. This is one of the locks of the week right here. 49-21, Ohio State all over Maryland. Not much more to say. MF, is Ohio State back?
In a way, yes, they are back. They got because of the fact that they got easier opponents right now. Let's see what happens when they got to play a bigger team and a better team down the line. But right now, yeah, Ohio State is the better team. They're gonna play. They're playing Maryland. Maryland was at least what we considered a favorite going in. But like I said, Ohio State right now, they're playing an easy Maryland team. But here's the thing: They got Indiana in Indiana. They got to go home to the Horseshoe against Penn State coming up. Then of course they got Nebraska, that should be a winnable game. They got Purdue, that should be a winnable game. Then the final two at the end of the year in the Horseshoe against Michigan State, number 11 at the moment, and number 9 Michigan in the Big House. Yeah, you get through all that, then you're relevant. But right now, and here's the thing, they already lost once already to Oregon earlier in the year. So they got some easy matchups. Let's see what happens when they got to deal with Penn State in 2 weeks. Then we'll find out if Ohio State is truly back, Anthony. They'll win this game, but come back to me in about a couple of weeks when they got to play Penn State. Then we'll find out if the Buckeyes are completely back or not. Bullock, it's yours.
Oh, boy, Fletch really came out on that one. Whew. Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually with him. I mean, I definitely got Ohio State winning this one, but big time. But for them to be relevant, yeah, we'll wait and see in a couple of weeks how they are against Penn State, and then we'll probably make the determination if they're truly back. But until then, I mean, they're getting close, but they're not quite there yet. So nothing else to say. Florio, it is yours.
All right, and we're going to stay in the Big Ten for our next game. MF just mentioned this team a short time ago. The aforementioned number 11, Michigan State Spartans, on the road at SHI Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, as they will be squaring off against the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. And this will be a high noon kickoff over on the Big Ten Network. And on the call for that one, it will be Brandon Gaudin, James Laurinaitis, and Rick Pizzo. And Michigan State opening up as a 5.5 point. Let me just check that again. Yes, Michigan State opening up as a 5.5 point favorite. So not much more to say. MF, you talked about Michigan State a short time ago. They go to Rutgers. They're going to Piscataway against a much improved Scarlet Knight team. Is this a trap game? Maybe an upset alert for Sparty?
I have to say, in one way, yes, it is a little bit of an upset alert, but I wouldn't say that it is a big upset alert. Yes, because of the fact that, remember, we saw a couple of weeks ago how Michigan went up against them and they almost got caught. So if you're Sparty, you don't want to live on the razor's edge. You want to handle your business. You got to play your game. You got to win this, and I think you can. But the thing is that you got to be very, very, very elusive. So very careful with the way that how this game is played out. So for me, Michigan State should win it, but this is not a gimme, guys. This is not an easy one because of the fact that, I'm going to say it could go either way. But when you got a team that normally averages easily, and I'm saying this easily, when you got a team where Michigan State already puts up almost 38 points a game, only giving up about 20, where that's a track meet. So I think Sparty is going to get the job done. I think it's close. The spread is 5, but consensusly, nationally consensus, based on ESPN, 65% has Michigan State winning the game. I agree with that. Michigan State wins it, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to be another one possession game. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State, I mean, they better not take Rutgers lightly. I mean, I think they should definitely be able to handle their job here against Rutgers. But Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I got Michigan State winning this one as well, so nothing else to say. Florio, it's yours.
If Rutgers had shown, frankly, any signs of life last week against Ohio State, I'd actually consider going for the upset. The Scarlet Knights started out 3-0, played well in a loss at Michigan, and now they get to host a Michigan State team that, despite a 5-0 record, has left much to be desired on defense. Instead, Ohio State Rutgers looked an awful lot like the quote-unquote very good team against very good team against very bad team matchup we've grown accustomed to watching in recent years. It was 24-0 in a heartbeat, 45-6 by halftime, and 52-6 early in the third when Buckeyes coach Ryan Day decided to fill the field with backups. Not only was Rutgers held to 17 points or fewer for a third consecutive game against an FBS opponent, but a defense that had held its first four opponents below 280 total yards was torn to pieces. Maybe the Knights will boot and rally to knock off Michigan State for a second consecutive year, but I just can't quite go with it right now. I'm going with Michigan State as well. 31-20, Michigan State over Rutgers. So not much more to say on that one. Another high noon game here, and it's another one of our games of the week. Huge game here in the SEC. High noon on ESPN. The number 13 Arkansas Razorbacks squaring off against the number 17 Ole Miss Rebels. Vaught Hemingway Stadium at Hollingsworth Field, Oxford, Mississippi. And this one will be over on ESPN. And on that call, it will be Joe Tessitore, Greg McElroy, and Katie George. And the spread favors Ole Miss. Ole Miss opening up as another 5.5 point favorite. So Michael Bullock, Arkansas. Oh boy, did they get hit with a very harsh and cold dose of reality against Georgia, and now they got to play Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, after what happened with Georgia, yeah, now they got to go to Ole Miss here. Yeah, not an easy task for Arkansas here, and yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, if this game was in Arkansas, I definitely would have gone with the Razorbacks, but because this is an Ole Miss, I'm going to go with the Ole Miss Rebels to beat Arkansas in this one. So, yeah, so Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, this is a tough one to call. It really is. Out of all the games on this docket, this one right here, as far as I'm concerned, is the toughest one. Because this is one that can literally go either way. Arkansas lost 37-0 to Georgia. Ole Miss trailed Alabama 35-0 before making the final score 42-21. A little bit more respectable. Both SEC West contenders are in desperate need of a bounce-back game if they want to remain in the hunt for a division crown. And I like the Razorbacks to pull off the road upset. Arkansas is ranked higher, but Ole Miss is the favorite, so technically, yes, it would be somewhat of an upset. The normally high-octane offense of Ole Miss was flummoxed by Alabama. The Rebels only had one gain of 20 or more yards, and that 42-yard pass to Chase Rogers didn't come until the fourth quarter when the game was effectively over. And this Arkansas defense has been every bit as stingy as Alabama's thus far this year. In fact, the Hogs' last four opponents have been held without a single passing touchdown and limited to 105.5 passing yards on average. Granted, Georgia had to start its backup quarterback and didn't need to throw much, but stats are stats. Ole Miss will likely have more success running the ball in week 6 than it did last week, and I'm not suggesting that Matt Corral is going to get shut out. The Rebels will score a few times. I just don't think it will be enough to make up for the difficulty Ole Miss is likely to have with an Arkansas rushing attack that has been potent against teams not named Georgia. The Hogs will dominate the time of possession battle and escape with a narrow victory. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with Arkansas to win this one. I think they'll bounce back 30-27. They'll steal one in Ole Miss. So not much more to say. MF, for me, toughest game to call. Number 13, Arkansas. Number 17, Ole Miss. Huge game in the SEC.
Yeah, huge game in the SEC, and this is a bounce back game for Arkansas. Look, they ran into one of those buzz saws. They went into Georgia. Georgia's just in a whole another. They're in an elite level. Look, they're basically gamed for a national championship run. Any other team, you would say, all right, fine, whatever. But this is one of those situations where if you're um if you're Arkansas, you're thinking, all right, look, we went up against a good team, we got beaten down, that was an embarrassing loss. Now we just got to try to bounce back, trying to find something because they got wiped out. They went up against Georgia and got wiped. So normally, what happens in your mind? Where are they physically? Where are they mentally? Psychologically, what are they thinking right now? Because they got embarrassed, and Ole Miss as well. So something's gonna have to give. I'm gonna go with Arkansas to win it. There's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, I'll give it to you.
All right, and we're gonna move on to our final high noon game over. This will be over on the SEC network. The now number 20 Florida Gators back at home at Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida, and they're going to be hosting the Commodores of Vanderbilt. SEC Network will have it. Dave Neal, Matt Stinchcomb, and Taylor Davis will be on the call for that one. And Florida, oh boy. Florida opening up as a 39-point favorite. Yeah, okay. No doubt about this one. In case needing a last-second field goal to win a home game against UConn wasn't enough proof of how bad things have gotten for Vanderbilt, the Commodores are underdogs by more than 5 touchdowns against a Florida team that scored 13 points last week and that has yet to win a game by more than 24 points. And you know what? It's a fair line because Vanderbilt's defense is just plain awful. Florida has won 29 of the last 30 meetings in this series, including a 56-0 victory 2 years ago. And it should be fun when the Gators bring in human highlight reel Anthony Richardson as the backup quarterback for garbage time. So there's no question about this one. Easy win for Florida. This is going to be a squash, no doubt about it. 52-10, Florida all over Vandy. Nothing more to say. MF, Florida is going to be they're going to be coming with the tiki torches and the pitchforks against Vandy after getting humiliated and embarrassed by Kentucky last week.
And they got stampeded on too. That's the other kicker. They got stampeded on. I sent Anthony Flair the video of the stampede. He couldn't believe it, man. He's like, oh no, Fletcher's at it again. SVP would be so proud of you, Fletcher. So yeah, it was the classic stampede, as I like to call it. Nothing more to say. Florida should bounce back and win it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Florida winning this one big. I mean, they're gonna come out big on this one, especially after what happened last week, getting upset. So, yeah, I mean, Florida should have no problem with Vanderbilt here. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
And now, gentlemen, we go from 5 high noon games to 4 3:30 games. And we start off this portion of the schedule with our favorite, one of our personal favorites, the SEC on CBS. First half of a doubleheader. Yes, we're going to have an SEC doubleheader, a late afternoon primetime doubleheader. But this one actually may be more entertaining than the primetime game. Go figure. Because it will be the number 2 Maine and Georgia Bulldogs. But this one ain't going to be easy because they got to go on the road against the now number 18 Auburn Tigers, Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. And it's not the crew you think. It's not going to be the Brad Nessler crew. We'll get to them later. we got a very unique crew for this game. I know MF's going to be very happy with the name I'm about to announce because I know how high he is on this young man. Iron Eagle's son, Noah Eagle, is going to be on the call for this game. Noah Eagle is going to be working this game with Aaron Murray, Rick Neuheisel, and our old friend Jenny Dell. And the spread favors Georgia. Spread that I think might be a smidgen disrespectful, if I'm going to be honest with you. 15.5-point spread for Georgia against Auburn. So there isn't much more to say on this. MF, number 2, Georgia, number 18, Auburn, another one of our games of the week. Iron Eagle's son, Noah Eagle, a young man who I know you're very high on. He's going to be calling this game, and what a big one for that young man, I'll tell you that. So MF, number 2, Georgia, number 18, Auburn. 15.5-point spread, yes, but to me, based on the past history, I got to consider this an upset alert in the trap game for Georgia, don't you?
I don't know. I mean, we talked about Arkansas being in the trap game and they blew them out. I'm not as convinced. I think Georgia's at a whole new level, man. I'm sorry. I think they got the Alabama next victim look. I hate to say this, Anthony, but I'm starting to get next victim vibes coming from Georgia now. And I think this is next victim. I'm not as convinced as you are about a trap game. I don't see it. Nothing right now tells me that this is trap. This is telling me next victim. I don't know why. I just got this funny feeling Georgia looks unstoppable right now. I think we might have ourselves a situation where we might be looking where the national championship game might be coming to Atlanta and the SEC championship game, because I think whoever wins that might win the national championship. I got that weird vibe going on right now. So, no, Anthony, I disagree. I don't see upset alert. I don't see it being even close. Georgia wins in a romp. Blowout. Next victim. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, basically I'm with Fletch on this one. I mean, I don't see a trap game here. It's going to be next victim when it comes to this. I got Georgia winning this one as well, but Georgia's going to win in a landslide. It's going to be next victim time. So that's just how I feel as well. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, a lot of the experts feel the exact same way. And, I just thought with the past history, maybe you would have thought that. But no, I'm right there with you. I mean,
any other time, like, I'll openly admit this. If Arkansas would have given Georgia more problems, then okay, I agree with you. But though after the way Georgia blew out Arkansas, and you know how good Arkansas has been,
yes,
and the way they dismantled them,
yep.
I'm sorry, Anthony.
No, fair enough.
This is one of those times where I don't see it. I don't see an upset alert.
All right, I was just curious. That's all. So, but anyways, Auburn's Bo Nix has yet to throw an interception in 2021. But what he did against LSU, repeatedly running around like a chicken with its head off before pulling some magical play out of nowhere, almost certainly isn't going to fly against this Georgia defense. Last year's Auburn-Georgia game got out of hand in a hurry. The Tigers were number 7 in the AP poll for that one, but they were down 24-0 in the blink of an eye. Considering LSU jumped out to an early 13-0 lead last week, and considering Auburn trailed Georgia State 24-12 at halftime the week before, it's easy to see something similar happening in this one. Unlike Georgia State and LSU, though, the Bulldogs, who have allowed just one offensive touchdown thus far this season, will squeeze the life out of Auburn if they get ahead by multiple scores. Georgia's shutout streak will come to an end, but it's not going to be a fun day for Auburn. 31-10, made in Georgia Bulldogs all over Auburn. So not much more to say on that one. Move on to our next game. And this one will be at 3:30 over on ABC. The number 10, BYU Cougars. BYU cracking the top 10. And they will be at home at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. And they're going to be hosting the Broncos of Boise State. Yes, Boise. We all remember them. On the call for that one, it'll be Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Tom Luginbill. And BYU opening up as a 6-point favorite. So Michael Bullock, as we start off with you on this one, watch out for BYU. BYU in the top 10 could definitely make some major noise if all goes well here, as far as, a potential New Year's 6, but that's more of MF's department. But nonetheless, Bullock, BYU back in the top 10. How about it?
Yeah, BYU back in the top 10 and looking very impressive here. So, yeah, and this is a team that could potentially contend for a New Year's 6 bowl. But we'll have to wait and see. But I've been very impressed with this BYU team up to this point. So, and I expect no different. I expect them to handle their business with Boise State. I got BYU winning this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, remember those days when when Boise was making noise and runs. But yeah, I think those days are long gone now. Last November, BYU destroyed Boise State. It was 45-3 in the fourth quarter before the Broncos padded their stats a bit with a couple of long touchdown passes. But it was a beatdown in Idaho against a ranked Boise State team. Now that BYU is the home team and Boise State has a sub-500 record, the only possible justification for this game having a spread that's less than 2 touchdowns is that BYU has gotten into the habit of playing up or down to its competition's level. All 5 of BYU's wins have come by a margin of 8 to 14 points. That includes impressive victories over Arizona State and Utah, as well as considerably less impressive wins over Arizona and South Florida. And though Boise State can't run worth a darn and has already had a couple of major duds on defense this year, Hank Bachmeier is a good enough quarterback to at least make things interesting if BYU lets the Broncos hang around. It's going to be closer than you think, though. I think Boise will give them fits, but I think at the end, I got to go with BYU to win this one. 31-27, BYU should get by Boise. So not much more to say. MF, this is your wheelhouse. BYU, how do you like their chances at a possible New Year's 6? They're right there.
They're right there. They're going to have to just keep winning. If they could just keep winning and see themselves through, they could actually find themselves in a New Year's 6. There's no doubt about it. I do believe BYU will continue that run, though. I do believe they'll get the job done, and they will win this game over Boise State. Like you said, Boise used to be the darlings a few years ago, but all of a sudden they haven't hit the right mark up to this point. Unfortunately, they haven't, and it's probably not going to get any better coming in. So I'm with you as well, Anthony. I got BYU winning this one, so nothing more to say. It's yours.
All right, moving on to our next 3:30 game. This one will be over on ESPN2. Here's another surprise. How about the number 19 Wake Forest Demon Deacons? And they're going to be going on the road to take on the Syracuse Orange at one of our favorite facilities, the Carrier Dome, the legendary Carrier Dome in Syracuse. And this game will be over on ESPN2. Beth Mowens, Kirk Morrison, and Dawn Davenport will be on the call for that. And Wake Forest opening up as a 6-point favorite. So, yeah. In 4 games against FBS opponents, Syracuse has thrown for a total of 510 yards and 1 touchdown. Thus, Wake Forest's entire defensive game plan in this one should be containing mobile quarterback Garrett Schrader and star running back Sean Tucker. As Liberty and Florida State have discovered in the past 2 weeks, that's not easy. That duo has rushed for a combined 461 yards and 6 touchdowns over the last 2 games, resulting in a win over the Flames and a last-second loss to the Seminoles. Even if each guy rushes for 100 yards and a score, though, a Wake Forest offense that has scored at least 35 points in each game this season should be able to take care of the rest. The Demon Deacons just need to make sure they don't let Schrader and Tucker run wild. I got Wake Forest winning this game. My final score, 38-23. Wake Forest over Syracuse. Not much more to say. MF, another surprise. Wake Forest coming in at number 19 on their way to one of our favorite facilities, the legendary Carrier Dome.
Yeah, and I'm totally agree with you on this one. And Wake Forest should win the game. Syracuse hasn't had any big moments, or they haven't had any big wins in a long time. So I just don't feel like Wake is scared. I think Wake will continue to play out and do what they got to do to stay, within the range of the ACC. ACC this year is a little more wide open, as you notice. Clemson not playing up to the level that they normally would play. So the ACC kind of is wide open this year. So anybody can actually capture it right now. So, so I got Wake winning, and Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with everyone here. I mean, I basically have Wake Forest winning this one as well. I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything, so let's move right along, Florio.
And we move on to our final 3:30 game, and this one will be over on the CBS Sports Network. Back in the top 25, number 24, SMU, the Mustangs. But they got a tough one as they're going to be on the road at the Navy, at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. Like I said, this one's going to be over on the CBS Sports Network. On the call for that one will be John Sadak, Randy Cross, and Sheehan Stanwyck Birch. And SMU opening up as a 13.5-point favorite. MF, SMU, another surprise in the rankings, coming in at number 24, but they got to go to the Navy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a surprise there, but like you said, Navy's always been more. You never know what to get with the Navy because Navy, they're so up and down. But I'll get to see the Navy very soon for the Army Navy game. That's gonna be huge. But nah, this time around I'm gonna say it. I gotta say, with SMU, like you said, you never know what to get with them. They've been playing good lately, so I think they'll get this one. So SMU should win it. And Anthony, I'll give it. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I like what I've seen from SMU, and I expect their winning ways to continue, and so I basically got SMU winning this one as well. So, Flory, what's yours?
Yeah, it's going to be SMU, but it's going to be a lot closer than you think. Since joining the American Athletic Conference, SMU has had quite a bit of documented trouble with Navy's triple option offense. The midshipmen have averaged 45.8 points against the Mustangs, and they enter this contest right after a 34-30 win over UCF, in which they rushed for 348 yards and 3 touchdowns. Early returns suggest that SMU's run defense is markedly better than in recent years, though, and goodness knows this Mustangs offense can score at least 4 touchdowns against anyone. I suspect quarterback Tanner Mordecai and company will have enough firepower to get this W, but it's going to come right down to the wire. SMU wins. My final score, closer than the experts have it, 31-28, SMU over Navy. And by the way, MF, I can confirm that this year's Army-Navy game, it's going to be at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So
I'm just glad that it's actually going to be in an NFL stadium and not in a school. It felt a little weird for us, even though it was good years ago for them to have it at that point. But I I'm just glad because me, Eric Carrier, we're so excited to be back out and to go to MetLife, man. Let's go. I'm excited this year.
Yeah. Because I believe they had to do it. Yeah, I know they had to do it at some unique stadium, unique setting last year because of COVID.
They actually did it at the Naval Academy.
Oh, that's right.
So it was at the Naval Academy. So that's why.
Yep. So, it's back in an NFL stadium. There have been years where it was in M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, and Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia had been, the site for that. But this time around, it's going to be back in the Meadowlands of East Rutherford, New Jersey, because you remember they used to do those games at the old Giants Stadium back in the day. But I think this is the first time that MetLife's actually getting this. So big honor for MetLife, to say the very least, to go with a Super Bowl, a couple of WrestleManias, and the whole 9 yards. So, but anyway,
as a matter of fact, just to let you know, MetLife Stadium, the home of the championship game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup as well.
Oh wow!
They just announced it. The FIFA World Cup final is going to be at MetLife in New York.
Wow! So I guess 2026, the World Cup's going to be here in the States.
It's actually going to be in 3 countries: in Mexico, in Canada, and the United States.
North America.
Yes.
Wow. That's something. So definitely a lot to think about there. But for right now, let's get into I had SMU winning, so and I believe MF started that one. So all right. I think that takes care of the 3:30 slate. Yes, it does. So and now we're gonna get into the game of the week. This is it. 4:00 kickoff on Fox. The number 3 Iowa Hawkeyes at home at Kinnick Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. And they are going to be hosting the number 4 Penn State Nittany Lions on Fox. And yes, this is where you're going to get the A-team. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, the All-American girl, Jenny Taft, working a little later than usual. We're so used to seeing them at high noon, but they'll be on it for this matchup, and rightfully so. Iowa opening up as a 1.5-point favorite. And Michael Bullock, we started with you. I believe this goes to you. The game of the week. Number 4, Penn State at number 3, Iowa. The main event. Nothing more to say except huge implications in both the Big Ten and the college football playoff.
Yeah, this is the total definition of a big game in the Big Ten, because, like you said, this could definitely have college football playoff outcomes, and it could also determine who's going to represent, who's going to be in the Big Ten title game. So, yeah, that crowd at Kinnick is going to be ready for this one. Penn State, they're going to be ready to go in there and to pull out a big win over Iowa here. So, man, this is a tough one to call. I'll say this, boys. If this game was at Penn State, I would go with Penn State here, but this is in Iowa. It's in Kinnick Stadium. I gotta go with the Iowa Hawkeyes to win this one, and I got them winning this one. I'm gonna go 27-24 in overtime. Yes, I think this is gonna be a close one. I think it's gonna take overtime for this one. So, nothing else to say. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. From the people who brought you a 6-4 final score back in 2004, it'll be Penn State, Iowa in the game of the week as a top 10 clash for the first time ever. These matchups at Kinnick Stadium have been pretty awesome in recent years. Awesome if you enjoy low-scoring, late drama, that is, MF. In 2019, Number 10 Penn State eked out a 17-12 victory over number 17 Iowa. 2 years before that, number 4 Penn State won 21-19 on a walk-off touchdown at unranked Iowa. And back in 2008, the unranked Hawkeyes upset then number 3 Penn State 24-23 on a last-second field goal. Given how great both of these defenses have been, only Georgia, 4.6 points allowed a game, has a better scoring defense than Iowa, 11.6, and Penn State, 12, as a similar result seems likely. As was the case heading into last week's big Cincinnati-Notre Dame game, the million-dollar question is, which turnover-forcing defense will win that momentum-shifting battle? Fresh off a 7-turnover masterpiece against Maryland, Iowa has a nation-best turnover margin of plus 12. But Penn State has yet to cough up the ball more than once in a game and has an impressive plus 6 mark of its own. If the turnover margin in this one ends up being a wash, I like Penn State to get the road win, as I have substantially more faith in the Nittany Lions offense in the battle of field position. However, Iowa has done such an incredible job of both forcing turnovers and converting short field drives into points that a big interception or two almost feels inevitable. The Hawkeyes will be the beneficiary of a game-changing swing midway through the fourth quarter to keep their dream of a perfect season intact. I'm going with the Iowa Hawkeyes to win this game as well. I have it a little lower scoring than Bullock does, but I got Iowa winning it nonetheless. 21-17, Iowa defeats Penn State in our main event game of the week. And good old MF Michael Fletcher, I know you got to be grinning from ear to ear. The game of the week. Not often it comes from the Big Ten, but boy, how do you get it right here. Penn State, Iowa, the main event, Big Ten, and college football playoff implications. Brother, it don't get no bigger.
It doesn't, and this is a big matchup for Iowa and for Penn State. For Penn State, this is respect. This is about getting the respect. You know, they've been beaten down. They've been held down. A lot of people have been giving them a lot of junk during the years of the Joe Paterno era, especially after the Larry Sandusky issue and everything else that has happened, and the black eye that's been on Penn State football. But now, more than ever, if they get this win, they might assure themselves a top 4 spot. And that is one thing that I think a lot of people did not believe that was going to happen. I think a lot of people thought, oh, it's going to be, that it's probably going to be Ohio State representing the Big Ten because they always are there. No, this time around, if Penn State beats Iowa falls out, Penn State will firmly be in firm position, and their road is wide open at that point. So at the end of the day, then you start thinking, oh my goodness, is it possible? So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Iowa, though, because I think just the fact that they're at home. Yes, it's going to be low scoring. Yes, it's going to be a defensive battle. But I do believe that that it's going to go in the way of Iowa. They're going to win it. It's going to be close. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, what a game that's going to be. I mean, and Gus Johnson's is definitely gonna get a workout in this one because he's back. That's all there is to say. I mean, Gus Johnson has had some amazing moments already this year, and you wonder why we've called him Screaming Gus Johnson and Mr. Squeals over the years. Oh yeah, the old Gus Johnson is back. There's no doubt about it. So, all right, now we're gonna get into the primetime slate of games now, and we're gonna keep it in the Big Ten. These next 3 games are all 7:30 kickoffs. And this one is going to be on ABC, the ABC Saturday night game. It's not the game of the week, obviously, because of the Red River rivalry, but the primetime Saturday night game on ABC, we'll call it that. The number 9 Michigan Wolverines on the road be squaring off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Tom Osborne Field at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. And on the call for that one, it's going to be the legendary Sean McDonough, along with Todd Blackledge and Molly McGrath, and I believe Michigan is the favorite in this one. Let me see. Yes, Michigan, slight favorite. Michigan, only a 3-point favorite in this one. So, a 3-point spread for Michigan. So it might be time to embrace the possibility that Nebraska is the second best team in the Big Ten West. That seemed impossible after their Week 0 meltdown in the loss at Illinois. But the Cornhuskers gave both Oklahoma and Michigan State a serious run for their money on the road and won their other 3 games against Fordham, Buffalo, and Northwestern by a combined score of 136-17. Of particular note, in advance of their showdown with Michigan, Nebraska has allowed just 3 rushing touchdowns all season and has limited its 2 most recent Big Ten foes to 56 carries for 108 yards. Meanwhile, Michigan's once dominant rushing attack has tapered off considerably as of late, held below 3 yards a carry by both Rutgers and Wisconsin. If that mutual recent trend continues, there could be a major upset brewing in Lincoln. Michigan has held all 5 of its opponents to 17 points or fewer, but we're also talking about 5 offenses that rank outside of the top 60 in the country in total yards a game. With Adrian Martinez playing as well as he has been over the last 5 weeks, this is going to be the stiffest resistance Michigan's defense has faced thus far. I think this is definitely going to be a tough test for Michigan, but at the end of the day, I know it's on the road. I mean, I would have felt a lot more confident about this if this was in the big house, but at Nebraska, that's not easy. But at the end of the day, I know MF and Bullock are going to be very encouraged when I say this. I'm starting to believe in this Michigan team. I really am. I mean, they had their first real test last week at Wisconsin, and they passed with flying colors, winning at Camp Randall for the first time in 20 years. 2001 was the last time Michigan left Madison, Wisconsin with a victory before last week. So don't put blinders on, gentlemen. This game is not going to be this is going to be your toughest test yet. Don't sleep on Nebraska. Don't look past Nebraska. I think you boys will win, but by golly, it's not going to be easy. I got Michigan barely stealing one in Lincoln, 28-23. I got Michigan over Nebraska. There, I said it. I'm starting to believe in this Michigan team. I'm starting to believe. So, and I'm rooting for you boys. I really am. So, because it's been a long time since Michigan has been a relevant team. So MF, it's been a while since we've seen Michigan in the top 10. They're there. They're at number 9. But like I said, don't put blinders on. Don't sleep on Nebraska. They're going to give you major fits.
Oh no, I and the thing is, I know Jim Harbaugh really enough, and I don't think he's gonna have this team with the blinders on either. They know what they need to do. They know what was laid out in front of them. If they play the way that they've been playing, because a lot of people didn't believe that Michigan was going to beat Wisconsin last week. Nobody really did. Everybody thought, oh, Wisconsin's the better team, this and that. And Michigan, I'm not going to say they handled them, but they did what they needed it to do. They held them down. They didn't. That running attack did not kill Michigan. But like you said, the running game needs to get better. We need to wake that up. That needs to be woken up. Of course, the passing attack looks a lot more better now. I think Michigan, look, they had a major test last week and they passed it. Now they got another one. I know this team's going to be prepared and ready to go. I think they will get the job done again. Michigan will win this one. It will be close, but I think Michigan will figure out a way and get yet another big road win. So, Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock, are you there? I think we might have lost him. Oh, there he is.
Nope.
Okay. All right, Bullock.
No, I'm right.
Michigan, your team against Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, I mean, what can you say about them? They're in the top 10, and yeah, I mean, this Jim Harbaugh has this team going real well here, and I expect this to continue. So I got Michigan winning this one. So Florio, it's yours.
All right. So, well, we go from, I think if the ratings are correct, yes. We go from MF and Bullock's team of Michigan. We go to my team now. Another 7:30 kickoff. This will be over on the ACC network. The now number 14 Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road, but they got to go to Lane Stadium at Warsham Field in Blacksburg, Virginia, to take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck, Kelsey Riggs, they will have the call for that one. And this is a pick'em spread. It's a pick'em because I see 0, so it looks like this is a pick'em spread. So there isn't really much more to say on this. I think this goes to MF. So MF, Notre Dame finally got exposed. Cincinnati exposed them, snapping, I believe it was a 25 or 26 game home winning streak for Notre Dame, their first home loss since week 2 of 2017 against the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. Cincinnati exposed Notre Dame, and now it doesn't get any easier for Notre Dame. Now they got to go to Blacksburg, Virginia, Lane Stadium against Virginia Tech. Oh, MF, can Notre Dame bounce back?
Which game is this? I'm sorry.
That's all right. Number 14, Notre Dame at Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to say it. Notre Dame, tiki torches, pitchforks, whatever you want to say. They got dismantled by Cincinnati last week. I know that was a shocking outcome, no doubt about it, but it is Notre Dame. They'll bounce back. Now they're going up against a Virginia Tech team, not so good, not as hot as they normally are in recent years. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame will bounce back. They'll get the win here. So, Anthony, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock? Okay, there you are. Notre Dame and Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah, I expect Notre Dame to bounce back here after that tough loss to Cincinnati, and yeah, I expect them to handle their business with the Virginia Tech. So Notre Dame wins. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. Neither Notre Dame nor Virginia Tech has looked particularly good on offense yet this season, save for the first 3 quarters of Notre Dame's opener against Florida State, in which Jack Cohn looked like a Heisman Trophy contender. But the Fighting Irish cannot run the ball, and the Hokies needed a punt return touchdown just to reach 21 points in their most recent game against Richmond. And aside from Notre Dame picking off basically everything in the fourth quarter against Wisconsin, neither defense has been all that special, with each allowing more yards per play on defense than it has gained on offense. Making matters even more fun, meteorologists are calling for rain across Virginia pretty much all week. So this could be quite the slop fest, and we all know how much MF loves rain and mud games, so this could be for you, MF. If that's the case, that could be an advantage for Va Tech, which has the more mobile of the 2 quarterbacks. But I'm going to take a chance to go with Notre Dame, but if they were to lose this one against Va Tech, I actually kind of wouldn't be surprised, because Lane Stadium is not an easy place to win. So I would love to see them do it, but I'm definitely on upset alert for this one. So, but I'm going to take a chance to go with Notre Dame. I'm going to say it's going to be 27-24. I got Notre Dame defeating Virginia Tech. So not much more to say there. We have 3 more games left to go, and then we'll call it a night. Next up, our final 7:30 kickoff. This will be over on the SEC network. The now number 16, here's another surprise. That's been the theme of the night. The number 16 Kentucky Wildcats back at home at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, and they're going to be hosting the LSU Tigers. And this will be over on the SEC network. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik will be on the call, and Kentucky is opening up as a 3-point favorite. So Michael Bullock, how about Kentucky? I mean, at least for now, Kentucky's not just a basketball school. Their football team is actually for real after Kentucky beat Florida at home last week with that big stampede that MF mentioned. So can Kentucky do it again against LSU now that they're number 16 in the polls? How about that?
Yeah, I mean, nobody could have imagined this going into the season, that Kentucky would be ranked. And yet here we are. I mean, they are ranked, and and who knows, a team that you gotta keep an eye on in the SEC. I mean, this SEC is already dominated, and now you got Kentucky ranked. Man, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Kentucky to win this one, and I think they're gonna keep it going. So, Floria, what's yours?
Yeah, I mean, we will forever think of Kentucky as a basketball school, obviously, with all the history that the basketball program has made, all those national championships they've won and everything. But their football team, at least for right now, is actually for real. LSU cannot run the ball, like at all. In 3 games against Power 5 opponents, the Tigers have tallied 77 carries for 145 yards and no touchdowns. That's worse than 2 yards a carry. However, they keep trying for some reason, averaging more than 27 rushing attempts a game. And if they continue trying to run through a brick wall this coming weekend against Kentucky's defense, they're only going to hurt themselves. The saving grace for LSU is that Kentucky doesn't have a ball-hawking defense. 3 turnovers forced through 5 games. The Wildcats haven't been particularly potent on offense as of late either. Take a page from Missouri's playbook, dial up at least 52 passes, and hope Max Johnson has a similar 4-to-1 touchdown-to-interception ratio. That might be enough for the Bayou Bengals to eke out the road upset. But that's a best-case scenario in which a nothing-special run defense manages to hold Chris Rodriguez Jr. and company below 200 rushing yards, which I don't see happening. And after the Tigers fall to 3-3 with a loss to Kentucky, head coach Ed Orgeron's hot seat meter is going to get cranked up from mildly toasty to a raging inferno. Kentucky wins. I say they do it again. Kentucky defeats LSU 28-21. MF, Kentucky number 16. You're thinking basketball. Oh, no, it's football. Can you believe Kentucky football is actually for real this time around?
Well, the thing is that they made us believe that they are for real. They made us believe after what happened last week, after what they did to Florida. They thought they were going to get chomped on. Instead, they actually ended up turning them into gator bits. I mean, that's the thing that they wanted to say. You know, it's the old saying, don't you want to be with an alligator? And let's just say Kentucky's like, yeah, we wanted you gators. And basically this Wildcat went wild, ripped that gator to shreds, and sended them over to and literally sended them back to Gainesville with a big fat L as a loser last week. So yeah, Kentucky knew what they were doing. They knew who they were dealing with. They wanted Florida, and when they did beat them, that stampede was basically saying, "Hey, hello, country, hello, guys. That does Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Acknowledge us. We're actually for real." Okay, Kentucky, we got you. We saw it. And we saw that stampede. I approve. And I think they're going to get another big win this week. Yeah, we cannot overshadow them anymore. But the one thing I would be afraid of is a letdown. Remember, we were talking about letdowns earlier in the show. This will be one of those games. Are they too amped? Did they put too much into the Florida game that they didn't leave enough for this next game? I don't think it will. I think they'll get the job done. So I got nothing more to say. And Anthony, it's yours.
Indeed. So I believe we have 2 games left. Yes, we do. This next game will be the second half of the SEC on CBS doubleheader, 8:00 prime time on CBS. The number 1 reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion Alabama Crimson Tide on the road against the Texas A&M Aggies, Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. The second half of that SEC on CBS doubleheader, now you'll see Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Jamie Erdahl. Alabama opening up as an 18-point favorite. Yeah, it's definitely going to be next victim here. I mean, oh man. Up until 2 weeks ago, at least Texas A&M had a great defense. The Aggies' first three opponents scored a combined total of 17 points and were helpless when trying to move the ball through the air. But Arkansas had 2 long passing touchdowns en route to 448 total yards in week 4, and Mississippi State threw for more than 400 yards last week. The Aggies lost both games without forcing a single turnover. Couple that deterioration on defense with an offense that can't seem to find any sort of rhythm, and it feels like Texas A&M might be the worst team in the SEC West at this point. And it definitely feels like they have no hope of keeping pace with an Alabama team that has now scored at least 31 points in 31 consecutive games. Alabama has won this game by at least 18 points in 6 of the last 7 years, though it is at least noteworthy that the exception to that rule, a 27-19 game at Texas A&M in 2017, was the lone instance during that stretch in which the Aggies were unranked. Maybe things will get a little weird for this night game at Kyle Field, but it seems more likely that Bama will run away with what will be its 20th consecutive win. 38-14, Bama all over Texas A&M. MF, now let's go next victim.
Yeah, again, Alabama is just the creme a la creme, the top of the food chain in college football right now. Like I said, I think right now with the way that this is shaping out, I think there's a collision course about to happen, and I think it's going to be between and I think the collision course is going to be between Alabama and Georgia, because right now these are the two teams that are standing out above the rest more than any other teams. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Nothing more to add. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be another next victim mode here. Yeah, I got Alabama winning this one big as well, so there's nothing more to say except I think we got one more game, Florio.
Yep, our final game of the week, and it will be a 9 o'clock kickoff over on FS1. Theme of the night, another surprise team in the rankings. The now number 25 San Diego State Aztecs. And they're going to be, I don't know if this is where they play their home games every week, but they're going to be at Dignity Health Sports Park, formerly known as the StubHub Center, Carson City, California, the old home of the LA Chargers, as you know. And they're going to be hosting the Lobos of New Mexico. And this will be over on FS1. And on that call, it will be Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis. And San Diego State opening up as a 19.5-point favorite. MF, San Diego State, number 25, theme of the week, surprise teams in the rankings. And we close it out with another one.
Yeah, surprise team. And yeah, they used to play at the San Diego or the San Diego Stadium or Qualcomm Stadium back in the day. That used to be the home of the San Diego Chargers, but I think what happened is I don't know if they're still there or if they're now in Carson. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with San Diego State regardless. I think they'll win this game. Michael Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, San Diego State, like you said, there are another team that's literally catching a lot of people by surprise, and I like what I've seen from them so far, and I basically see them continuing their winning way. So I got San Diego State winning this one. So Florio, take us home.
Indeed, I will. And yeah, without a doubt. I mean, fresh off a 28-point loss to Air Force, in which it allowed more than 400 yards of rushing, New Mexico now has the near impossible task of trying to shut down a San Diego State offense that has rushed for at least 200 yards and multiple scores in each game this season. The Lobos have also averaged just 212 yards of total offense and 7.7 points during their current 3-game losing streak, so this one should be over by halftime. They won't all be this easy for SDSU, but its first Mountain West Conference win of the season will be a blowout. all San Diego State, 41-13, San Diego State all over New Mexico. So that will indeed put the bow on this Week 6 edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 11 p.m., over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, for another all-new edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday Night SmackDown, the start of the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournaments. I can confirm the first match of the King of the Ring tournament, Rey Mysterio will go one-on-one with Sami Zayn. And the first match of the Queen's Crown tournament, the rivalry continues, Liv Morgan and Carmella. Plus, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, contract signing for their triple threat SmackDown Women's title match in Saudi Arabia. You know that's not going to end well. And then, of course, AEW Rampage. I ran down that card the other night, or I should say last night on Mayhem. Check that out on my channel for that. So that'll be tomorrow night. And then Saturday night, we got NFL Saturday, Week 5 edition. The headliner, obviously, the AFC Championship game rematch, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. But we'll get into all the games, but that, of course, is the big one right there. And then Monday night, Ridiculously Raw. And then after that, we got to figure some stuff out because we've got some programming changes when it comes to the shows that we cover. So we'll have to put our heads together for that. So that'll do it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Braves Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dede Woodson, and always in forever, the Yankee Messiah 401, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Week 6 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.